What's up, Internet World? We're the News 19 Nerds. I'm Leroy.
I'm not sure why I'm here, but I'm Michael.
That's Michael. All right, so we know you guys are doing some...
Let me just say, I feel like I'm being forced against my will. Usually the tables are turned, I'm forcing against his will. Now he's forcing me against my will.
And I like it.
Yeah. So what are we talking about? What are we doing?
So basically we wanted to talk comics. And we know people are sitting at home. They're chilling. They got a lot of free time on their hands. So what better opportunity to make them read?
Sure.
So
reading is fundamental.
Fundamental.
Yes.
So one of the things I've noticed a lot of channels, a lot of people do, they do this top 10 list of here are the best books to read, and they always do Watchmen. I'm not going to tell you that. I'm not going to tell you to read The Watchmen. I'm not going to tell you to read Batman, the Long, whatever. I'm not going to tell you any of it. These are the books that I think are kind of under the radar. People aren't really checking for. They're some of my favorite books, and if you want to get into comics and you want to just read a complete story where you don't have to read a bunch of tie-ins, crossovers, and you just want a good story, these are the...
beginning, middle, end.
Boom.
Okay.
They're not that expensive. A lot of these books you can find at your local comic book store. You can find them on your online retailers, and they're usually pretty inexpensive. Okay. So let's start with Marvel, one of my favorite books of all time. Next Wave.
What that?
So Warren Ellis and Stuart Immonen did a 12-issue run about basically the losers of the Marvel Universe.
Okay.
It's interesting because a lot of these characters you've seen other places. So you've got the Captain. He's an interesting character because he called himself the Captain. Captain America beat him up.
Oh.
He was created by aliens. They gave him superpowers, and it's basically like a loser who basically gets invulnerability, super strength, and can fight, but he's a tool.
Okay.
So you've got Boom Boom from X-Force, Monica Rambeau. Rambeau.
I've heard that name.
She was Photon.
Yes.
So she used to lead the Avengers. She's the leader of this book.
Okay.
She's kind of a prick. Think if Archer was a superhero comic, this is Archer.
Okay.
And she is Lana.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Then you got Aaron Stack, Machine Man, who calls humans fleshy ones. And they keep telling him to stop because
that sounds a little freaky.
He really kind of just wants to cut up people. Oh, no. Yeah, so, and then you have Elsa Bloodstone. Elsa Bloodstone's a vampire hunter. So,
she is in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. They came out on Nintendo Switch.
Okay, so basically all of these characters you'd seen in other books or other things. I think the only one that was created for this book was the Captain. Okay. Basically, so I'll read the tagline. The highest anti-terrorism effort, or HATE, a subsidiary of the Beyond Corporation, put Next Wave together to fight bizarre weapons of mass destruction. When Next Wave discovers that HATE and Beyond are terrorist cells themselves and that the BWMDs are intended to kill them, they are less than pleased. In fact, they are rather angry. So they make things explode. Lots of things. Starring Monica Rambeau, formerly Captain Marvel and Photon, Aaron Stack, Machine Man, Tabitha Smith, X-Force's Meltdown, Monster Hunter, Elsa Bloodstone, and the Captain. If you like anything, you will love Next Wave. Boom.
Okay.
The issues are pretty inexpensive if you can find them. This is one of the trades. They haven't done a hardcover yet. This book is amazing. So here's, hold on. There's a part in the book where it flips upside down because they're fighting in a castle upside down.
Oh, that's nice.
And
it's.
If there was cursing, they would have it in here. So there's parts where these monsters come back from another dimension, and they're snapping and they're dancing like they're in. Dirk Anger was supposed to be the villain in this. They wanted to use Nick Fury, but Marvel wouldn't let him after they figured out what Warren Ellis was going to do to him. This book is hilarious. It's one of the funniest books out there. It's also written by one of my favorite writers, Warren Ellis, and it's drawn by Stuart Immonen, who's one of the best artists out there. Okay.
Two things.
Yes.
So Warren Ellis, for those who don't know, like me, I don't know comics like you do. What else would I know Warren Ellis?
Transmetropolitan. We're about to get a couple of other books that he's written. He also is one of the writers for the Netflix show Castlevania. Okay. Yeah. So he's been in the business for a while. He's written a book called. What is it? Naked Vein. He's written a lot of he's written a couple of regular books, but he's been writing comics for a while. Okay. He is one of the people. So you've heard of the Ultimates, right? His book, The Authority, and Stormwatch was the precursor for when Mark Miller and Brian Hitch actually did the Ultimates, which a lot of people are like, you guys copied the MCU. That's where a lot of these modern day comics and a lot of the MCU, they came from Warren Ellis, Mark Miller, Brian Hitch. There's a couple other people, and we'll get to some of those books.
Okay.
Here is.
Now I've heard of the X-Men, sir. You said you're picking stuff that people don't know about.
You know the X-Men, but this is a book written by. See who's on that cover?
Joss Whedon.
Yep.
Okay.
So Joss Whedon of Buffy fame. He might have done some other stuff you might have heard about.
I mean, he did Avengers, but I'm happy because he did
independent movie. You know, not a lot of people heard about.
Sure. Fair enough. Okay.
The reason why this book is amazing is because a lot of people are right now just really big on House of X and Powers of X. They're like, the X-Men have not been this exciting in years since Whedon did his run.
Okay.
Joss Whedon, when he did his run, he paired with John
You keep
Cassidy.
saying Josh.
Is it Joss?
Josh.
Okay, Joss Whedon.
All right.
Sorry, friend of the show.
Yes.
So, Joss Whedon, he had a core group of X-Men. He had Cyclops, Wolverine, he had the White Queen, Beast, a new character he created called Armor, and Kitty Pryde.
Okay.
If you look at the back, you see some characters. This run was 26 issues. He introduced some characters. He introduced some ideas that were pretty groundbreaking. It's in continuity, but it was a brand new book, and it really tested the X-Men in the sense of Cyclops was running around and didn't actually know how to use his powers for a little while. You had some characters who died and came back. Colossus had died in service of humanity and mutant kind to prevent the legacy virus. Kitty Pryde. There's a lot of things in this book that was just amazing. And it's easy to read. It's 21 through 24, and there's a giant X-Men, giant size Astonishing X-Men. I think it's 25, but it might be 26 issues. It says 25 on here, but I could be mistaken.
Okay.
It's not an expensive omnibus to get. You can still find it some places. Also, check your local library, and it's on comics.
Well,
I mean, if your library is still open.
oh, there we go.
If your library is still open,
all right.
check your local comic book stores. Also, every single one of these books I've checked are on Comixology.
Okay.
So you can find it at least there. Some of these books are even on, if you have a local library, on the Hoopla app.
Okay.
So you can find some of these books there as well. This is, again, you can get a beginning, middle, and end. This is really one of the books that you're like, you don't have to read years of continuity to understand the characters. It literally just starts.
It's a good jumping off point.
It's a really good jumping off point. And you see why Wolverine is the way he is and why he's
the best
Wolverine.
he is at what he does.
Kind of, but you also get the human side of Wolverine.
Okay.
You get that. You get the relationship of why people really love him and why he can be irritating. You see why Cyclops is one of the best leaders. I do not like to use this term. Cyclops is the Tom Brady of leaders.
Okay.
He gets the job done.
Okay.
And you see why a lot of people don't sleep on Cyclops. Cyclops is a badass in this book.
Cyclops is a Buccaneers fan?
He is now.
Okay, cool.
I could talk about this book forever, but let's move on. 2 books. They're still in the wrapping. We'll get to both of them because I've read them, but when I bought them, I hadn't read them yet. Hawkeye Omnibus and The Sinister Six. The reason why these 2 books are in my list is, one...
Now, this is new Hawkeye.
This is new Hawkeye.
New
So
version
this
of
is,
Hawkeye.
I would say this is Hawkeye, and this... So remember, everybody's watching the Avengers, and they're watching Thor, and Hawkeye was in there, and like, he's just a guy with a bow and arrow. They play up to that in this book. He basically is a guy everybody doubts. He's... In the movie, he's kind of like, cool Hawkeye, you know, Jeremy Renner plays him. But he's more or less the Hawkeye you see when he's with Natasha. The Hawkeye you see who's with Scarlet Witch. That guy who realizes he's really walking amongst gods. Nuclear walking warheads. And he just hangs out in his neighborhood. He has a dog named Pizza Dog. You also get Kate Bishop in this book. This is kind of one of the books that everybody's like, if you make this
into a TV show,
you got fans.
Okay.
Kate Bishop is amazing. So Kate Bishop isn't his daughter in this book. It's his namesake, his sidekick, his Padawan. Mm-hmm. They have a falling out. Kate Bishop goes west. They get back together. They hook back up. It's a really fun book. And it's one of those books where you're just like, I really like him.
Now, is this the one where he does his laundry or something?
Yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I've heard that. Like they kind of, they're able to do. Matt Fraction is able to take mundane tasks and kind of turn it on its head and make you just enjoy even menial tasks.
So here's the tagline: Clint Barton, seasoned pro; Kate Bishop, talented rookie. Two Hawkeyes hanging out, swapping arrows, teaming up, but not in that way. Just bow buddies, no strings attached, except bowstrings. Silly. That's the tone of the book.
Yeah. Okay.
It's so like Clint has enough complications with an ex-girlfriend, an ex-wife, a current friend girl, a redhead with the car of his dreams, plus that building he just bought, the army of gangsters in tracksuits that want it back, and an issue-hogging dog with the nose for murder and a mouth for pizza. So it's like hijinks within the Marvel Universe.
Yes. Okay.
This is a really good book. Matt Fraction did a really good job. There's a lot of artists on this book, but Fraction really kills it. I want to say this is about 23 issues. Some of your smaller omnibus, they're not really, they make some tomes, but this is one of your smaller ones. This is pretty much a good, nice little weekend read.
Okay.
All right, that's one. Nick Spencer and Steve Lieber.
Nick Spencer, is that the guy who did the Superior? That's what this is, right?
That's
okay. Superior, yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily contain Spider-Man, but it's his villains. So basically, here's the tagline: Meet the new Sinister Six, all 5 of them.
Okay.
Spider-Man's deadliest foes in their own book at last. No, not him, or her, or them. We're talking Boomerang, the Shocker, Speed Demon, Overdrive, the new Beetle. Wait, has she even met Spidey? What are these guys trying to pull? Well, that isn't the big question, as the questionable quintet set about attempting to prove they're superior to any sextet.
Okay.
These are lovable losers. I cannot stress this enough. These are the guys who literally get punched in the face every single time.
Okay, and these are the jobbers in wrestling terms.
Basically, these are your jobbers. These are the guys who continuously get their butt handed to them.
Okay.
Nick Spencer. This is a book where some people will probably come on this channel and be like, Nick Spencer. Some people, you have to divorce their Twitter handles, and honestly, you need to take their Twitter away from them. Can say some things on Twitter that can piss you off. Whether you're left or right, he'll say some stuff that'll just get under your skin. Set that aside. Him and Steve Lieber, this is the great book. It's all ages. It's for kids. It's, again, for Marvel, the Spirit Foes of Spider-Man. It's hilarious.
Okay.
It's a great book. Again, not that thick. I love this book. You can pretty much read this in an afternoon if you really got nothing to do.
So, what was the Nick Spencer? He wrote something recently that you got me to read a couple issues. The Fix, yeah.
That's this, but
for adults.
Yeah,
no, I was just saying if you want an adult version, maybe.
So if you want an adult version of some of the same hijinks, The Fix is like if the guys who wrote Rick and Morty did Cops.
Okay.
So so Nick Spencer. I love Nick Spencer's work. I don't follow him on Twitter, and he's one of those guys where you're like, you would be amazing if you just shut up on. He's one of those type guys.
Okay.
This is an all ages book. I cannot stress this enough. These 2 books, actually, all 4 of these books are all ages. So you can read it as a parent. You can read it and give it to your kid. There's some books that I'm going to point out that I'm going to bring up that they're not for everybody. But these 4 from Marvel are great books. I would definitely say you need to put them in your library.
Okay.
So that's our Marvel books right there. So let's go to DC and let's move on into Indies. So for DC, I've got 2 books. These are my 2 favorite books from DC.
I've heard of Kingdom Come.
Kingdom Come and All-Star Superman. We'll do All-Star Superman first. You remember the backlash Man of Steel got? This is why. This is a 12-issue series from...
And when you say Man of Steel, you mean Zack Snyder's Man of Steel.
This is why.
Okay.
I personally love Henry Cavill as Superman. I think, just like Ben Affleck, I think the movie and the writing did not do them justice. This is one of the quintessential Superman books. It's a 12-issue miniseries from Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely. I cannot stress how great this book is. Superman, during one of his missions, absorbs so much radiation he's going to die.
Okay.
This is the final tale of Superman.
Okay.
In this book, you see Lex Luthor, you see Lois Lane, you see him with his parents, you see him with Jimmy Olsen, and it's basically just one of those books where you're just like, if you wanted to make a Superman movie, you do this book. If you wanted to make a Superman animated series or cartoon, this book. So imagine when you watch Superman the Animated Adventures or Superman of Justice League, that's this Superman.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie to you, this book was one of my favorites, and it really got me, because this is about a man who has the power of God, who literally just wanted to help people. And you see his ability to infect other people, to do the right thing, and he literally has to use his wits at times and not his powers to get out of situations. The art is amazing. Remember I told you about the Marvel Ultimate line and some of those. This is another one of those guys, Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely, who literally changed what comics were, but just by how they wrote. Here's some of the blurbs. Variety. All-Star Superman is exciting, bold, and super cool. All the makings of a classic. New York Times, maniacally brilliant. Time, best comic of 2007. Morrison gets what's fun about Superman. He's ridiculously powerful, and therefore he just sees and does and has lots of incredibly cool, totally bizarre stuff. I can't stress this book enough. This is one of the best Superman books out there. There are a lot of them out there. It's easy. This is another all ages kids book, and it's really like a light in these dark times.
Okay.
This book right here.
All right. So maybe that might be like maybe kind of a bastion almost of like, you're dealing with the news and all this stuff, and you're dealing with coronavirus or whatever it is. You're shut in. Maybe this is kind of an inspiration almost.
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
Another, you say inspirational. This is one of my favorite books of all time. To the point where this book made me no longer lend books out anymore, because one of my good friends stole all of the issues and then told me he was going to steal them because it was that good.
That's on you. He told you before he was going to steal them?
He told me as he had them.
Oh. Okay.
And he was like, you're not getting these back. And I was like, what do you mean? What? And I was like, huh. But then I kind of felt good because I got him back in the comics.
Okay.
It was like one of my mentors. We taught comics, and I would keep going to the store, and he hadn't been going, and I was like, "You have to read this." And he read it, and he was like, "You were right, and you're not getting these back."
Okay.
So Don, polite. I want these books back.
You know what you did.
You know what you did.
Yeah.
So reason why I talk about this book and I love it so much is, if you remember the 90s. That's when everybody had spiky hair in comics, and Venom was cool, and Cable was big.
Yeah.
DC decided to, as an antithesis of those, created these characters who were like the bad dudes. We're like cool for cool's sake. And basically the old ideas of Superman were outdone. They were over. Here's a book where Superman and all the old heroes are gone. So each cover had something like this with like your new characters, and then each time you would see basically what's going on.
Now,
go ahead.
Is this... I know Alex Ross is very well known, and I always feel like he's attached to Kingdom Come. Is that correct or no?
Yep, because Alex Ross and Mark Waid wrote this book. This is so Alex Ross rose to fame with a book called Marvels, where basically he would look at the Marvel Universe through the eyes of a photographer, so to speak. And he would see like the Fantastic Four with this old 50s kind of look, and he would like, oh my gosh, these are giants, these are great. And you got to see him through a different set of lens. Okay. Alex Ross was superb. This is the soft cover. I have a hardcover. I wasn't bringing it in. There we go. I have bought this book in every iteration. There is a softcover novel. I have that. There's a CD in the back of this book. It's somewhere in the house.
Okay.
There's a hardcover Absolute Edition. I have that. There is a hardcover of this, not an absolute, just hardcover. I have that.
Okay.
This is honestly, all of these books are these are my top 10 favorites. This rivals my number one book of all time.
Okay.
Because basically, Superman leaves. He quits. Batman goes crazy to a certain extent. And Wonder Woman has to bring everybody back together to fight not just a new crop of heroes who kill, but the villains have gotten together like your Legion of Doom and are secretly trying to take over. Lois dies, and Superman's like, I'm out. I don't care about humans anymore. He gives up. And it takes a monumental task for him to come back.
Okay.
This book, like All-Star Superman, comics should be fun. This was fun. It was fun because it was dark. You got to see these heroes through the eyes of a man who's older, who it seems like he doesn't have a lot to live for. Kind of like a It's a Wonderful Life type situation. The Spectre is ushering him through, and so he's looking at these things from the outside looking in. He can't really affect change, or can he? And you see basically these ideals that seem passé, that seem out of date, come to the forefront. And there's really this moment where you're just like, is everything lost? You ever want to know who wins between a fight between Superman and Shazam? This book. Okay. You want to know how dangerous Batman really is? This book. You want to know why Wonder Woman could pretty much take over the world? This book. Everybody that you think you've seen.
These like all the ultimate power fantasies.
Literally, and the art is amazing. I'm telling you right now, Alex Ross is great, but you won't get. I mean, this is when he was at his prime.
As best we can.
I mean, yeah. So I'm telling you right now, go get this book.
Okay.
This book is amazing. So those are my DC books. Those two right there. Let's move on to some indies / Wildstorm. So back in the day, Jim Lee and all the guys who used to work at different comic books companies left and they formed Image. Each one of those guys had their own little universe. Jim Lee's universe was called Wildstorm.
Okay.
Out of Wildstorm was a universe he created that he had different things going on that started from Wildcats. When Jim Lee left Image, he took Wildstorm with him to DC, and DC bought it. So it's weird. This weird thing where some of the characters ended up in DC continuity, and some of them aren't.
Okay.
Here are some of the books from Wildstorm, and Vertigo to a certain extent. So these tomes.
Yeah. These are like textbooks.
Yeah. So you've got the Sleeper Omnibus from Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips.
Okay.
Warren Ellis and John Cassidy. Remember that name from Astonishing X-Men. And Global Frequency. Let's start with Global Frequency.
Okay.
All right. So Global Frequency there's a soft cover. I kind of cheated with this one. I don't have the soft cover which collects both of these volumes. Each issue is 12 issues. Each issue is one complete story.
Okay.
So the Global Frequency. So here's the tagline. Are you on the global frequency? In less than an hour, a black hole will manifest somewhere in the middle of San Francisco, or a lethal airborne virus deadlier than Ebola Zaire will be released in the center of London, or 100 lunatics will detonate the top floor of an office tower, killing themselves and their hostages, unless Miranda Zero has anything to say about it. Global Frequency is a worldwide rescue organization that offers the last shred of hope when all other options have failed. Manned by 1,001 operatives, the Frequency is made up of experts in the field as diverse as bioweapon engineering, parkour running, each agent equipped with a special mobile vid phone that keeps them in constant contact with the Alpha. The hyper-responsive nexus in the central GF hub is specifically chosen by Miranda Zero, an dynamic leader of the GF, based on proximity, expertise, and in some cases, sheer desperation. Each issue is written by Ellis, but they're drawn by different people.
Okay.
So basically the idea is you will get a call, you're on the frequency. So it's kind of like MIB.
Okay.
But you're not just a secret agent. You are good at you are the best at whatever it is you do. So let's take the coronavirus right now. In one of these books, a pandemic is about to happen. There's a virus man-made and it's about to be released. Whoever's in that area, you're on the frequency. You have to work. You don't know who's on the frequency. You just get a call. Your phone rings, you're on the frequency. You leave whatever you're doing, you stop to meet this whatever.
Okay.
Every agent doesn't make it out. This is an adult title.
Okay.
There is a couple of stories in here. They're not bad. They're just adult in nature to the point where you're like, fudge, what did I just read? Mm-hmm. This is Black Mirror before there was Black Mirror.
Interesting.
In a sense. They're
you
lying.
mean with like technology or
technology
stuff? Okay.
with think about every wild possibility. You remember Jim Jones? Mm-hmm. There's a situation in here.
Okay.
Pandemics, there's a situation in here. RoboCop goes crazy, situation in here.
Okay.
Terrorists takes hostages. So each agent is paired with another agent to do and solve this crime. Global Frequency was so popular that this was one of the first comic series that they wanted to turn into a TV show. Mm-hmm. They actually made a pilot. You can find it online. Okay. It never aired. It never got off the ground floor.
Did you like it? Did you see the pilot?
I never watched it because that's one of those things where I never watched because I never wanted it to.
Okay.
If there's ever a show that can be made, it's stuck in developmental hell. I don't know who owns the rights to this yet. This is one of the best books out there. It's easy to pick up the issues. If you can find the issues, you can just pick up an issue and you could be like, oh, cool, put it down. Mm-hmm. But they collect all of them in here. There is a theme that goes throughout, but it's very thin. You get to see the beginning of Miranda Zero, who she is, Alf, and it's a very interesting read. It's a great book, and it's kind of a sign of the times. These agents respond, and I'm talking like they respond to stuff you're like, can that happen? Yes. So there are things in this book that you don't realize are military and weapons grade that is real. Okay. And Warren Ellis is that good. That's what he does. So that's another book from Wildstorm. So let's take Sleeper. So this book right here by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips, I own all the issues of this. This is basically a secret agent within a secret agent within a secret agent.
Sure.
Okay, so
little Matryoshka dolls of whatever.
Pretty much. So here's the tag. Holden Carver is a double agent without a choice. Spy Master John Lynch, the only man who knows his mission, lies in a coma. Tao, the criminal mastermind whose organization Carver has infiltrated, is growing suspicious, or maybe just playing a particular cruel game of cat and mouse. What's a spy to do when no one knows he's been left out in the cold? Can Holden evade detection by those who thinks he's an ally, avoid capture by those who thinks he believes he's a traitor, and somehow survive with his soul intact? Basically, Holden Carver is a secret agent who goes in to a criminal organization, who knows he is from the other side, he's playing the part that he's switched sides. Okay. He hasn't. Mm-hmm. The only person who knows he hasn't is laying in a coma on life support. Okay. He's a double agent playing a double. So the good guys think he's gone over. He hasn't. The bad guys don't trust him. Once John Lynch is in this coma, he has to make a choice. Do I keep playing this part that I'm a bad guy and just, because everybody thinks I'm a bad guy, they don't, what do? He's in love with a woman who's on the bad side. He's in love with
this person?
That's one of them.
Oh,
he's in love with a woman who's on one side. He's in love with a woman who's on the good side. And all the choices and things he does. This is still in plastic because I've read it several times. I had to get a new copy. So I got rid of that one. I bought it again. I don't open these packages until I'm going to read them again. Because I've read some of them so many times. They're dog-eared. And I'm like, so I haven't opened this. I have read this. I love this book. So Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips have gone on to do other books. They've done Criminal. They've done Fatal. They're got a new book, a new Western coming out soon. This is the book that showed people Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips together are forced to be reckoned with.
Okay.
The reason why you know the name Ed Brubaker is because you know a guy by the name of Winter Soldier? That's him.
Okay.
Ed Brubaker used to write Captain America. He brought Bucky back.
Okay.
And he made it work. When everybody else said it can't be done, he did it. He also killed Captain America. So that's this book right here. All of these books are out of the Wildstorm universe. I know it says Vertigo, but this is one of the Wildstorm. So John Lynch, to give you a little bit of backstory, was part of a special ops team called Team 7 that was literally nuked to give them superpowers.
Okay.
He's a dick. He is their version of Nick Fury.
Okay.
If he was terrible.
Okay.
And I mean, like, not like terrible, like, remember in Avengers when they wanted to nuke the Avengers? Lynch would have done it.
Okay.
That's how bad Lynch is. He doesn't care. He is ruthless. Sends him out there to do this job. And it's a bad job. A lot of people get hurt. And it's basically it basically asks the question of whose side are you on? And what are you willing to do?
Okay.
That's why this book is great. This tome.
Raise it up. It's covered up by part of it. There you go. Okay.
This is Planetary.
Uh-huh.
I don't even know how to describe this book, honestly. It's amazing. It's literally like a dissection of comics. It's a love letter to comics. Mm-hmm. It's a love letter to, if you like the Fantastic Four, if you like the X-Men, if you like back in the day the old 50s reels with Indiana Jones and swashbuckling guys like Flash Gordon, and it's crazy.
So it's like a serial type thing.
It is, but it isn't. So here's basically what you got. Elijah Snow, Jaquita Wagner, and the drummer. 3 people who walk the world in search of strangeness and wonder, uncovering things others wish were left covered. They are the mystery archaeologists, explorers of the planet's secret history, charting the unseen borders of a fantastic world. Warren Ellis, once again, they're basically archaeologists who write a book, and each year this book comes out and it talks about the secret history of the world, of things going on. So like when...
And this is Planet Earth?
This is Earth,
okay.
But it's in the Wildstorm universe.
Okay.
Every year this book comes out. It's funded by a secret organization. Elijah Snow is the new person to head the Planetary. It's usually a 4-person team, but it's now 3. Each of these people have their own history. Each of these people have their own secrets. And how does it tie to Elijah Snow? And the reason why I say it's called the Planetary Guide. So that's the slipcover. So basically, each year the guide comes out. He's in charge of making sure the guide. So basically, they find Elijah Snow. He has powers to make everything around him cold.
Okay.
Jaquita. There's this organization that has a lot of money, and they go around stopping the horrors of the world at times, helping save people. The whole organization is meant to observe and to watch and catalog. Elijah comes in and he's like, we're going to change this for the better. We're not just going to be watchers. We're not going to just be observers. And
is this for adults, for kids, for...
It's not for kids because it has sex and violence in it. It's for a little older audience because the themes in this book are heady. Okay. I would say maybe middle schooler. If you trust your middle schooler to understand the themes, this is something I would read with them. High schooler, definitely. Okay. This will challenge you. This will break your heart. It will make you cry. It will make you laugh. It will make you cheer. There is some darkness in this book, but it's another one of those books. And again, I say this, comics should be fun, but this is about fighting the darkness and having a little bit of adventure along the way. Okay. Here's a couple of blurbs from IO9, Ain't It Cool News, IGN, Newsarama, Rolling Stone, Comics Journal. This is one of the best books out there. It is thick. This is says 27 issues. Planetary crossed over with, and again, the reason why I bring up the whole Wildstorm DC, Planetary crosses over with the Justice League, Batman, and the Authority.
Okay.
And that's why I said this is for a little more adult, because the Authority, imagine if the Justice League said we're going to run the world.
Okay.
That's the Authority. And they curse. And they fight. And they drink. And they have sex.
Okay.
And do drugs.
So they're doing everything.
Pretty much.
Okay.
But I love this book. And I cannot stress enough, Warren Ellis is one of the best. When he is on, he is on.
I mean, a lot of I've heard his name a lot for a lot of this stuff.
So and I'm gonna be honest with you. So a lot of these books are hit during a time when I was really. It's a certain time period. So these came out around the same time. Some of these books are a little newer, like Superior Foes of Spider-Man, Hawkeye, a little newer. All-Star Superman's probably a little, but right around that 2000s peak. This is a newer book, and this is the last book. Private Eye. This is Brian K. Vaughan.
Why he look like that?
Who, like this?
Yeah.
So this is interesting.
Oh, that's a hoodie.
Yeah.
Oh,
this
man,
is
that freaked me out.
So, Brian K. Vaughan. This is a graphic novel. The comics came out as a web series, I want to say. The reason why you know that name is because of Saga. Ex Machina. There's a lot of books this dude has done. Pride of Baghdad. This is a book, so here's the tag. Years after the digital cloud bursts and exposes all of our most confidential hopes and fears, the Private Eye is set in an inevitable future where everyone will have a secret identity. Following an unlicensed PI as he's thrust into the most important case of his life, this sci-fi mystery explores the nature of privacy with frightening prescience? Prescience? Prescience?
Yeah.
I always get that word wrong. That's why you're here. For the words. All right. This book is basically an alternate future where, how do I explain it? You know you're on Facebook?
Nope.
Just go with me.
Okay, yeah.
So you're on Facebook, you're on dating apps, you're on all that stuff. Imagine if every secret you ever had got dumped. Okay. Everything you've ever texted, everything you've ever said gets dumped.
Okay.
This is the world after that. Everybody in this world has kind of a secret identity. So you see everybody with hoods and face masks.
Yeah.
So everybody in the real world is pretending to be somebody else.
Okay.
The book reads like that, like old-timey news strip. It deals a lot with friendship. I love the fact that there's some geriatric people in this book. I don't want to give it away. I don't want to tell you what's...
Now, the protagonist, is he a minority?
Yep.
That's cool. I like that.
So he's a black gay man.
Okay.
I don't want to give it away.
Okay.
But I love everything about this book. And the reason why I bring this up is this is a book that I would say it is heady. I would give this to a middle schooler. Because the way the world works now is you need to fight, you need to approach these themes and fight what's out there earlier. Okay. So you have to talk about themes that are in this book at an earlier age. And this is a great book about so right now, what's the hot popular social media app? What's the hottest one right now? Everybody in the newsroom's talking about it. You know what it is.
Oh, TikTok?
Boom.
Okay.
This deals with who's sponsoring these apps, who's making them, what are they for, and the whole idea behind the internet. This book changes how you think about privacy, the internet, social media, all of those different things. This book, it's listed as $50. If you go to your local comic book store, I'm quite sure they'll sell it to you for less. You can go to your local bookstores.
How much you get it for?
Let's not talk about that.
Fantastic. Okay.
I got this on Amazon when it first came out. I had some gift cards. I got this next to nothing.
Well, I mean, the gift cards. How much? What's the price of the book?
It's $50.
That's what you pay for it?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just saying I didn't pay $50 for it. But I'm going to be honest with you. It's worth $50.
Okay.
It really is. If you go to your local comic book store, you can find it. They probably have a good deal on it. Because it's one of those books that was hot when it came out. A lot of people loved it, but a lot of things, shiny new things have come out, and it's kind of, I don't want to say it's fallen by the wayside, but it's not the first thing that rolls off people's tongue. Everybody's talking about other books now. You can go to Second and Charles, you can go to Books A Million, Barnes & Noble. It's on their shelf. Amazon has it. That's where I picked up my copy.
Okay.
I highly recommend this book, only just because it's definitely hitting the themes we're dealing with right now when it comes with Facebook. How has Facebook been used to manipulate elections? All of that stuff is in this book. And he's a cool private eye. Also, the hoodie he wears, that whole idea of cameras and tracking and stuff like that, if I remember correctly, the hoodie he's wearing is to eliminate being tracked.
Okay.
So, there's a rite of passage when you become of a certain age, how you use the internet. I love the dude's grandfather. His grandfather in this book is amazing. It's this old, tatted up dude who used to do drugs. It's hilarious. Those are my top 10 books. I left Watchmen up here because everybody tells you to read Watchmen. Right. I'm not going to tell you to read Watchmen. I liked it. I thought it was a seminal, great book, but it's not my favorite. Mm-hmm. And it really didn't hit me until I got older and understood some of the themes about it. And honestly, I didn't really appreciate it until the TV show came out that made me go back and read it. But all of these books you can read, you can find at a decent price and have a great time with it. Honestly, a lot of these issues you can find if you can't find these books, you can probably find them at a good price at your local comic book store. All
right, we got a lot to digest here.
I'm going to read these while I'm at home.
Yeah. You gave me a lot to think about, at least in terms of people I should look out for, so that's cool.
You know you're not borrowing any of this stuff, right?
I mean, I'll just take it from you. Kato will let me take it.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
She already knows. Because you know why?
Why?
She wants to sell all this stuff.
Oh. Well, see, if I say, hey, I'll buy it, she'll be like, okay, here you go.
She want to stay married. Is that real? This is that real.
This is that real, y'all. Wrap us up here.
All right, guys. So this is what I've been reading. These are some of my favorite books. What are some of yours? And honestly, these are my deep cuts. These are some of the books that I think you should go check out that maybe a lot of people aren't talking about, or maybe you've heard some of these names and you're like, why is Brian K. Vaughan so hot? And why do people love so? Well, go back and read why is Warren Ellis, if somebody speaks his name, everybody, these are those people. Why did Joss Whedon get Avengers? Because he proved he could write with Buffy, and he proved he was a comic genius with Astonishing X-Men. These are the books. We want to hear from you. What are you reading? What is some of your deep cuts? Hit us up, like, comment, and subscribe. You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, WOTex.com, and on the YouTube right here.